a part of the report where they do a bit of field work, and basically what they found, the various constituencies they went to, is that the biggest spenders won. I mean, I agree with him that it's not about how much you are spending, but if the biggest spenders are winning, it means that if you can't raise a lot of money, then political parties like yours, if it becomes a party, you're in trouble. It is going to be a party. No, it's already going to be a party. But let me quickly address this issue. This morning, they have exhibited indiscipline. Your station meticulously gave us a topic. If they have activism to come and do, they must wait. They cannot come and choose a topic here and then run with it. If you don't take it next time, you bring a topic on road, and by the time you realize you'll be discussing prostitution on this platform. That is the first point. I'm very happy that my brother Zato ended with transparency, that we must enforce the laws. Very important. We have enough laws to govern or regulate our political funding activities. Many a times, if you listen to everyone, what seems to be a mystery is those that are contributing towards our political, or funding our political activities. And you rightly said it, the biggest spenders are the ones winning. And must it be the case? So, thankfully, in recent days, we have heard the former flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, graciously give us an information that he single-handedly donated more than 300 brand new Navara pickups to the New Patriotic Party. For me, it's an enough information that all of us know the salary of a vice president. And we know that if he decided not to even take a cedi from his salary for the entire 8 years, and even the period that he was working at the Bank of Ghana, he could not afford the 300 plus Navara pickups. From his own pockets. From his own pockets. So if you take it that I'm in the transport business, on the average, a brand new Navara plus duty will not cost less than 60,000. If you take it as 60,000, and then let's even use the base figure of 300, don't let us go into plus, that means he donated $80 million to the NPP campaign. Now, what must we ask him? Was it a case that this money came from his pocket? Was it a case that he was helped by friends or his network, as you have been told? There are no answers. So to help deepen our democracy, this morning when I leave this place by 10:30, I am submitting a petition to the Office of the Special Prosecutor to help us in this regard. That we go in to find out who helped him to, as it were, donate the 300 plus Navara pickups, so that it does not become. As in, you're petitioning the OSP to investigate that donation done by the former vice president. He himself willingly gave us this information. Willingly. For the first time, he has been so charitable, giving us this information. From there, I'm going to petition also on Brian Champon. He was saying that he gave $1,500 to each of the executives. Ken Agyapong also was making reference to some money. No, we have to let the system work. People get away with a lot of things because we have the laws, we have the institutions. And in this country, we are quick to identify the problem, but nobody wants to ask it to make sure that we deal with the problem. This morning at 10:30, I, together with the Bobakman and lawyer Pierre Dankwa, we are going to test the laws of the land to make sure that the former vice president comes out to explain to the people of this country how and where he got these 300 plus Navara pickups that are brand new in nature, and as to whether or not these were not aided by foreigners who are not supposed to take part in our body politic in terms of funding. Now, to buttress that point, is very dangerous and serious, and people have been seeing it. Somewhere on the 20th of August 2024, in some few months to the elections, the New Patriotic Party, by its General Secretary, issued a power of attorney to one Miss Nanadwa Ose Akoto. And I have the letter here. If you want to project it, you can, but I'll read it for you to hear and see what we are doing to the people of this country, what we are using our politics to do. It says, Your Excellency, appointment as Special Envoy, we greet you for and on behalf of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, the ruling party in Ghana. We also take the opportunity to appoint you as a Special Envoy of the New Patriotic Party with the power of attorney from us.
As a special envoy, you are mandated to negotiate. Yo, I'm sure you are listening. Negotiate and deal with all manner of principle. All manner of principle underlined, emphasized, personalities, and solicit their support in matters which are considered paramount in the interest of the party. In particular, you brief the dignitaries on the political process in Ghana, the efforts the party is making to consolidate the positive gains of His Excellency Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia-led government, with special emphasis on contributions geared towards maintaining power in the oncoming general election on the 7th of December 2024. We trust in your ability. I understand this letter or document that was given to this lady led her to solicit for more funding.
I mean, we have not seen that letter.
I can make it available to you. I have it here.
Yes, it, we have to authenticate it.
Yes.
The point you are making is forming part of what you are asking the agencies to look into.
Yes, I mean, that's why we'll be petitioned separately. I mean, the type, but what I'm saying is that as a political party, you cannot give a power of attorney to a Ghanaian to be shopping around the world when you know that your political parties Act 2000 Section 2324 makes it clear that non-citizens of this country are not supposed to take part in the funding of our political activities.
Okay.
That what are you insinuating? Especially when your letter does not specify. It says you deal with every principal, and every principal could be a foreigner or a Ghanaian. So we need to go into such matters. This is not to say that the said lady or envoy went in for money from foreigners, but to help shape our political discourse. In the same way, the petition that we are doing concerning the 300 pickups is not to suggest that the vice president dipped his hand into the pocket or the coffers of the state, but just to bring matters, clarity to matters. Now, we are monetizing our politics without people speaking against it. And it's unfortunate that the only reasonable example that you could lay hands on always has to be with the NPP. It's unfortunate. If I had documents to prove to the fact that the NDC was doing that, I would go straight. Because you see, we were sitting somewhere. Once again, Engineer Adenimo. You know Engineer Adenimo? His reason, one of the reasons for withdrawing from the NPP's presidential primaries had to do with what? Money. Money. Paragraph 4 of his letter states that the unreasonableness of the fees that have been charged, which is 4.6 million. For the information of your viewers, 4.6 million is 46 billion old cities. That is billion Makuma 46. If you put it in a chop box, it will be over. This new patriotic party is saying that they should come and pay the money before someone could be the flag bearer. Now, I've been on a number of platforms with their communicators who openly argued with me that indeed it could never be true, including the director of communication of the party. So if you have a political party that is implementing a policy or a fee structure that its lead communicator is not even aware, then what are you talking about? And I heard from the Council of Elders boss or chairman of the Council of Elders, Mr. Hakman Osuajiman, lamentation 1-2. That why have we turned our party into a monocratic party? That he couldn't believe his ears and eyes that the party was charging 4.6 million Ghana cedis. And we are looking on concern. I'm happy Adam was enumerating what they use their money on. I dare say that if you want to spend, you want to spend. It's the reason why maybe some of us are not putting ourselves up for elections, because it's unconscionable for me to pay for your vote. I wouldn't do it. So if that is the reason why you will not vote for me, take your vote. Excuse my language.
The great action plan is not going to get implemented.
No, but we are going to tell them. You see, we are going to speak truth to them.
Because the data shows that those who are spending more are winning.
No, but it's also not true. It is defective. Because you see, you cannot convince me that in election 2024, the NDC had more than the NPP. Are you able to convince me?
Yeah, I mean, I get that point, but in the context of the areas that they looked at, those specific constituencies,
that was saying that we are also political actors.
Okay.
It's not always those that have money that wins elections. In fact, people who have ideas, people who have integrity, they win elections. In election 2024, the party that people saw them to be credible won it. How was your money going to diffuse the minds or win the minds of people that were concentrating on galamsey, that you were destroying the environment. How was money going to change that? How was money going to change the perception of corruption? How was money going to change the fact that we have seen president and his appointees who were behaving arrogantly across the country?
Okay.
It is the way we have given so much weight to money that is letting people behave like so. Right. We have to go back. Let candidates have a message. Your message alone can take you far. Okay.
Let me wrap up with Doc on Zoom. Doc has been on for a while. Doc, any reaction to the issues that have come up, and you wrap up for me on this subject?
Yeah, so I think very important key.
Okay. I think there's a bit of a challenge to the connection to Doc. What I'm going to do is that I'll give you a minute.
Yes, a minute.
Directly.
I just want to do three things. The first one
yes.
is that there's an aspect of the report that I disagree with, which is the fact that they make the assumption that in most cases, candidates who spend more won. It may be in a few cases because if it was about being very resourceful, there's no way I would have been here as a member of parliament.
Yes, Doc, we have you back. You were making a point just before we lost you. Hello, Doc.
I was saying that there is recognition, at least across the panelists, that we need a lot more transparency in our campaign finance legal framework, and that for me is key. If we accept that money or financial resources would always be critical to the survival of a political party and their ability to contest in an election, that's fine. Then let's build a more robust system that enforces the law and ensures that it's very transparent. Because again, for me, if I were running for office and someone gave me 100 Ghana cedis, I won't read too much in it. But if I were running for office and someone approached me with 100 million Ghana, it's a very different proposition. And want our democracy to be captured, even if it's not just those who are running for office, but those who are financing candidates and parties because they have deep pockets. What do they want in return? And what does that do, especially, for example, with our fight against corruption?
On the initiative, the government, the president launched, was it last week or this week?
The big push.
The president ordered that the Ministry of Finance or Agri should purchase about 1,000 boxes of tomatoes to feed HSS students. I think the president did that because there's almost a tomato glut in the market. Farmers were losing value, farmers were losing money. And so I think the idea behind this order by the president was that go inside there, offer the farmers a guaranteed price, buy it, use it to feed secondary school students. It's a very good project. I laud it. I thank the government for that. But my question is, why stop at tomatoes? Why stop at onions? Right now, as I speak to you, if you go to Tumu, if you go to Walanja, if you go to Saka, if you go to Chalo, if you go to Nablo, if you go to Basisa, if you go to Kunchok, if you go to any of the areas where the best maize in the world is cultivated, that is on Sesala land. I'm talking about from Lambuse, Sesala, where Sesala is west. That's where the best maize in the world is. There's a glut of maize too.
Okay.
Last year by this time, this month in Sesala is called Banchane, September. You could sell 1 bag of maize and buy 1 bag of fertilizer. You could do that. And farmers do that. Farmers, they have a way of organizing these things. So at this time, they will sell the produce they have, buy the fertilizer, apply to the crop on the field, and still leave some to feed for the lean season. This year, a bag of maize in Tumu right now is going for around 380 cedis. A bag of fertilizer is going for almost 550 to 600 cedis. So you will need at least 2 bags of maize to try to buy 1 bag of fertilizer. What it means is that most farmers cannot afford to buy fertilizer. The prices of the maize is down. You could say it's good for consumers. But at the same time, the price of fertilizer is there. All the subsidy the government had for it is gone. There's no subsidy. So what farmers are staring at is to make 2 things. Should we keep this maize and feed in the lean season, or we should sell everything and buy fertilizer for the crop on the field? the government can do exactly what they did for the maize farmers, for the onion, for the maize farmers. The government can go inside, they give a guaranteed price for maize. What you simply do is just like this, say, look, I want to buy this amount of, because every secondary school in Ghana is Banku or Kenki, and Kolong, depending upon where you are at TZ. Every, the prisons, they eat the same thing. Every boarding facility eat these things. The government can go and do exactly, replicate this formula in Sisala West, other places, and help poor farmers out, because the farmers are suffering. Go also do a similar thing, because don't be selective in choosing that, oh, I want to help maize farmers, or I don't want to help onion farmers. I want to help maize farmers, I don't want to help tomato farmers. Help all farmers. Government, go inside there right now. The farmers will be happy, the farmers will praise you, the farmers will come and worship you, and it will be a good thing. So politically it will be good. So I'm just hoping that the government replicates the same things and help these farmers out, because I was in Tumu over the weekend, and that's the biggest crier here, wherever I go. In fact, the small fertilizer that went there, they shared it along Patrick. Look, don't do this.
No,
I got
news for you.
No, don't worry.
It's an information
Okay, so
so that you can give your farmers.
let me also do this, and before I come the funding.
Okay.
So that was the number one concern.
Okay.
People
I
are saying,
think you've made a point.
Oh, no, don't do this.
Yes.
When you was making the point, you didn't tell him made the point. This guy spoke for more than 30 minutes. You didn't say anything. Let me just make the point. Secondly, so please.
Hold on, Doc.
Okay.
I'm
giving you an information.
The farmers are suffering. I just want to buttress that point. They are suffering to my need.
So let me give you information, then you tell them in your local dialect. Okay, no problem.
I didn't give you information. Secondly, when it comes to the big push, I want to thank you, and I think you are lucky. Your constituency, your people are very lucky that your roads have started. I'm happy. I use the same road. I use the Wa Heng Jeffrey Tumu road. And I just used it on Tuesday. That road has stayed the same way. So I'm happy that the big push has started with your places doing. The characteristics you were mentioning about your roads are the same on this road I'm talking about. One, this road connects more than 7-8 constituencies. Two, unfortunately, all of them are NDC constituencies.
Which road is that?
Wa Heng Jeffrey Tumu Chuchulega to Navrongo Road.
Okay.
It connects all, and almost all these constituencies I've mentioned are in this constituency of Wonder.
Oh, good news.
Two. This road also connects, if you are coming from Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso to Ghana, it is the shortest route if you want to come to part. And most of them do that. 3, this road produces the best maize in the world. Did I say that? If this morning you are eating Banku, this morning if you are eating Akple, this morning if you are eating Kinki, this morning you are eating cocoa, likelihood is that maize came from Sisala. So this road, the economic potential of it, the social potential of it, the political potential of it is also huge. So I'm happy, and let me say I'm jealous. I'm jealous that your roads have been started first. I'm jealous, but don't worry. I also hope because I've passed there's nothing there. And you said yours
is here.
Yours even started before they went to cut the saw. That's also excellent. I'm just saying I'm jealous. No, it's there. I've seen it. Look, I don't want
to be done.
If there's one thing that I've decided not to be skeptical about is the big push. I have it, especially with this road. I have 1,001 reasons why I should be skeptical. I don't want to be.
Your government couldn't do it, but I will do it for you.
You see?
Adam,
I'm just helping you.
No, I don't need your help. Okay, I don't need your help. No, because don't let us do this. I don't need your help. I'm saying that. I'm saying that.
No, you should admit his government couldn't do it, but we'll do it for you. It's part of the big push.
We should start doing this.
He will do it for you.
Adam, hold on.
I'm just guiding. I'm just helping.
Do you know a minister called Arona Hussein?
Yes.
Do you know a minister called Alhaji Ahmed Suleimana?
I know him very well.
Thank you.
But I'm telling you that it's part of the big push.
That's what I'm saying. This is government, so I get it.
Don't worry,
you keep doing it.
You couldn't do it, but we'll do it for you.
I'm happy. I'm glad, and I'm so jealous that your roads have been given preference. Your roads have been commission started. I've seen that. I'm also praying that, please, that this road I've also mentioned, the Wa Heng Jeffrey Tumu Chichilga Road. It's on paper, it's there. It's there. I've seen it.
But the thing was launched only yesterday.
It's there.
Adam, please.
I'm hoping that. I'm also hoping that we put the same importance, the same significance, the same energy, the same prominence to it. So that at the end of the day, and look, I've said I'm a big fan of the big push. I'm cheering for it, and I want to see this happen. If it happens and I get a chance to sit here, I will thank the government for it. I don't want to be skeptical about it. I want to pray that it happens. When I went to my consulted the gods, and the gods through a soothsayer, and they told me, take it easy, just hold on.
It will be done, right? Even the gods are in alignment.
Route, I want to give time. Some time and see what happens. So that when that time happens, we will do that. So look, again, Thank God you got yours. I hope ours also come, and I hope it's also done. Okay, you do that. and then the president hometown own too. The Bole Bamboy road. You see, the Gonjas I also make a lot of noise. Their road is bad. That's the president hometown. You see, he didn't do his road. Yeah. Okay, this was between me and the president. It doesn't involve you. Let's go. His home is true. It's galamsey. His hometown now. He doesn't want to go there.
That's not true.
Again, I'm saying this. There's no galamsey. There's no galamsey where. In Northeast.
There's no galamsey in the president's hometown like that.
But there's galamsey in Savannah.
And Akufo Addo behind his house. Behind his house. And I think it was doing that. Don't let us go there.
I like the fact that he's Mr.
Let's behind his house.
You're not timing me. You're not timing me.
Because on the president's compound, let's go.
Let's go.
So you have to. So now on the financing,
look. I think the problem is that, and I think I heard the researcher what he was trying to talk about. Campaigns are expensive. Democracy is expensive. There's this old adage that if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. The question, if you think democracy is expensive, you could say, well, try non-democratic rules and see what you get. We tried that in Ghana, we chose democracy. All over the world. In fact, if you're a political leader, all over the world, if you take to the liberal democracies of the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, leaders' ability to raise funds and enough funds to finance their campaigns becomes a very critical factor. So when you're running for office, you need to demonstrate that you can raise enough funds to fund your campaign. Sometimes it is one of the things that is used to demonstrate how viable and how good you are. So the fact that we need a lot of money to run for campaigns is not new. The fact that candidates must raise a lot of money is not new. The problem we have in Ghana is that the reporting system and the accountability system, the infrastructure, the policy to guide it is the only problem. Not the amount of money to be raised. I have no problem with all this. If you are raising a billion gazillion cities to raise your country, that's fine with me. It's how we report on it. Because in the United States, with the click of a button, you can know that this candidate raised $1 billion. When Barack Obama was running for office, he didn't have any. He wasn't a billionaire. But he was the first candidate in the US to raise $1 billion to run his campaign. Hillary Clinton followed with $2 billion, and now, because in the last elections, Elon Musk spent almost $500 million for the Trump campaign. They do. Here's the thing: you can click a button and see the reports. Who contributed what? 2, you can click a button and know what that money was used for. How much was used to pay campaign volunteers? How much was used for the media? How much was used for research? You can do that. So it brings a certain amount of transparency. So don't let us try to create this caricature that our elections are too expensive, and because it's expensive, that is necessary by corruption. I think when we do that, we are trying to. Then the question asks us, what are we trying to do? Are we saying the public should pay for it? I disagree with that. I disagree with the fact that the government should be paying you to run for MP. I disagree that the government should pay you or should be sponsoring your campaign to run for office. No. The government has money. Let's put that money into education. Let's put that money into healthcare. Let's put that money into stopping galamsey. Let's put that money into improving our roads. I want to do that.
Is the cultural context a relevant factor in discussing? And I'm asking because of some of the items Adam says they spend on. I don't think in the US, if you are going to meet people, key stakeholders, you have to go with something just to.
We don't know that. But the point I'm making, okay, so I go to meet the Trumukuro, is my father in Trumu, and I make a donation to the palace of, let's say, 10,000 cedis. I record it. 10,000 donation. It's a political activity. It's a campaign activity. You buy schnapps to go and greet the chiefs. You record. It's a campaign item. Just as the same way as if you order a brass band, you record it. So it's not that. The fact is, then the question, if the auditors now want to confirm, they can go to the palace and ask him, hey, did you receive 10,000 from this guy? So it has nothing cultural about it at all. It's what we need is knowledge. What we need is understanding. What we need is education. What we need is to have the EC and other relevant sit down with political parties and go to. What I want to see is a framework. Let's say an auditing framework, an accounting framework, a form readily available. Okay. And then you say that every candidate, the moment you take office, we want you to fill this form. And in the US, they have quarterly reports. Produce quarterly reports. Look, the laws enforce the laws. It's not how much you raise. I want to make a point, okay? Think about it this way. You say it costs almost 4 million or to run for president, okay? Take in the last elections. Honorable Alan Kyeremanteng ran the last elections. He got about 32,000 votes. If you take this money and divide among them, these are people who believe in his vision. These are people who can invest in him. If you divide this money among them, each one of them can easily contribute that money to the campaign. It mustn't come from his deep pockets, Solomon. It mustn't come from anywhere.
Okay.
He can easily get committed and dedicated people to contribute that money. Okay. In the same way, Dr. Bawumia got over 2 million votes. If you divide this amount of money by them, because these are people who believe in his vision, they can easily contribute 10 CD, 20 CD, 100 CDs, it will raise. His Excellency President Mahama got about 4 million votes. That is money that these are people who believe in him. Divide this amount of money among these people. So one, what we need to do to reform the system is one, improve our campaign financing laws, improve our campaign fundraising laws, improve our campaign reporting laws. In other words, bring enough transparency and accountability in the system. Because these candidates have followers. There are people who trust them. And these people will invest in their campaign. I think the idea is that whenever we raise this thing, we make it look like you must pull the money out of your bank account. You must go and get the money. No. If for everything, like he just said, he ran and won elections. I don't think his bank account is that big to have fun. No. But he came up with innovative and creative ways to raise this money. What we should do is throw a big light into those ways to then see who are these friends who were holding a dinner for you. Who are these friends who gave you this check? How much did they raise? So that today I can go to the Edem campaign, click on a line, and see his list of donors.
All right.
Good morning to you. My pleasure. Good morning to your guest in the studio as well.
I'll start with you, Doc, on Zoom. But first, let me share with the viewers an important part of the data put out by your outfit. Let's look at the numbers, what the numbers are looking at in terms of the cost of elections. And you see that the figures are quite significant. And so for a member of parliament now, we are looking at 4 million cities. That's 4 million cities. And there's a breakdown for this. First, you'd have to nurture the constituency for about 2 million. Then the next layer would be the running for the general election proper, the general election campaign. And so you have to start off first, you nurture the constituency. Then the second aspect is the general election campaign proper also 2 million. So that brings you to 4 million. For the presidency, and the report says that to stand a chance with the main parties, that is the NPP and the NDC, this is what we are looking at, 575 million. That translates to about $100 million. And the report says that a rising cost was found to be linked to both the demand-driven and supply side of corruption. And it has led to an upsurge of dirty money with campaign funding. The study identified 9 financiers of political parties and candidate campaigns who were engaged in criminality, which included activities of serious and organized crime. And these activities included illegal mining, oil distribution, fraudulent businesses, procurement infractions, and its associated kickbacks and award of contracts. And let me start with Dr. Sakwapon, like I said. And Doc, I would want us to put the conversation within a certain understanding. A lot of the times, we focus on the cost of the elections, but what we generally, in my opinion, we tend to mean is beyond the cost, because it's expensive, the political parties and the candidates must find money. That is 2. And because they are looking for money, and we don't have a robust legal framework, it means that they get money from whatever sources. Then also, those sources, because of the lack of the framework, it's not transparent. Then there is the bit about what they actually spend the money on. Is that their appreciation in terms of what the plane looks like that we have to have the conversation within?
Yes. Good morning once again. Thank you very much. So one of the things that I always like to put in context when questions about campaign finance, political party finance comes up is that it's not as though there's not a recognition that there is a role for money or financial resources in politics. After all, our 2 main political parties, to be able to do the things they do and keep being a party of a national nature, definitely would need financial resources. They've set up very elaborate administrative structures that helps them run the party on a day-to-day basis. And most importantly, also allows them to be competitive when elections roll around. So that recognition, for me, it's very important to step up front that, yes, definitely, they would need financial resources to be able to compete. The concern is one, as you pointed out, how increasingly it's becoming costly to participate not just in internal party elections, but also to participate in national elections. That cost is becoming very exorbitant. And the question you have to ask yourself is this the kind of entry barriers to participation in our democratic politics and electoral contestations that we want to keep promoting? Because for me, it creates this idea that office holding goes to the highest bidder. It is also problematic when you have a legal framework that is not the most robust when it comes to enforcement and transparency. So all we hear every so often is person A is a party financier, person B got money from this source or that source. But you can't even authenticate some of these sources and where some of these monies are coming from. I always argue, and not even just within the Ghanaian context, but even within the US context where I live, if someone gives $100 to a political party or a candidate for office, I can agree that it is out of the goodness of their heart, their care for the candidate, their care for the country. But there are certain amounts of money that when you donate to a political party or to a candidate, it's very hard to convince me that you're doing it solely for the love of democracy and love for the candidate. And so when there's not transparency and these costs are going up, whoever is financing or whichever persons, organizations are financing these candidates, you also have to ask yourself what's motivating them and what do they want in return. So if you put all of those things together, then you have to be really concerned that it is costing this much to run for office in an environment where enforcement of the rules around party financing has quite a number of loopholes, as well as the lack of transparency.
And Doc, where do you stand? Would you blame it directly on the legal framework that we have in place? And I'm asking because we have a law that says that only citizens of Ghana may make a contribution or donation to a political party registered in Ghana. Then the law also prohibits funds from foreign sources as well. So a non-citizen shall not directly or indirectly make a contribution or donation. Those are some of the key legal frameworks that we have in place. But there are those who will say that there is also, because, and your report identifies it, the demand and the supply side of it. So they will say that no matter how robust the legal framework is, people will still go around it. Which of them would you say accounts for more of what we are seeing happening?
So you're right. Both the demand side, meaning the expectations of the ordinary voter when candidates are campaigning for office. We often hear this narrative, for example, during party primaries, that it's the cocoa season for delegates. So we've created also an electoral politics culture where running for office includes providing incentives to those from whom you seek votes, even though, again, the law is very clear on these prohibitions. And for me, it boils down to an issue of enforcement. If you're unable to even enforce your existing framework, despite some of the challenges and loopholes that candidates or parties can circumvent, then you're going to have this issue of we don't know where the money is coming from. We don't know who is giving it. Citizens, non-citizens. You just don't know. The cost of running for office, again, is also not just solely driven by the legal framework in place. I think it does cost money. I mean, if you think of adverts that political parties, candidates want to run, how much these radio or TV stations may charge for a 30-second, a 1-minute ad. I'm not sure what the rates are in Ghana, but in a place like the US, sometimes a party or a candidate could be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars just for a 30-second or a 1-minute ad to run in selected states. So those administrative costs for me are real. That must be confronted. But even as you think through these administrative costs, you also have to ask yourself, what are the more legitimate ways of funding parties and candidates in such a way that, again, transparency is what drives it. In the US, I can just simply go onto the Federal Election Commission website. I can pull up a candidate's name. I can pull up groups that support candidates or parties. I can pull up political parties, and I can tell exactly how much they've given to a given candidate when, over how many years. Candidates will tell you where they've been raising money from, because any violations of those campaign finance laws are seriously punished. One small infraction in not reporting these things come with serious consequences. And so if you do not enforce the existing legal framework in an electoral politics culture where we seem to accept that money has to play all kinds of legitimate and illegitimate roles, this is what you end up with.
And finally, Doc, on the recommendations that are in this report, I mean, you raised the legal challenge. You've already touched on that, the reforms, and you've also mentioned enforcement. There's an interesting one. You talk about the Auditor General, the possibility of having an understanding with the parties to audit their books. The parties are not going to allow that.
Yes, you're right. I don't think the parties would allow that, except that the law also says the parties would submit audited accounts at the end of a given year, but also at the end of an election year. We would have to be able to trust. I am willing to trust that if Party A selects a given auditing company to audit and present the accounts, that you would trust that those auditors would really represent what the parties have done or haven't done with regards to their financial resources. The other idea that I have always been a supporter of, but the political appetite is not there anymore, is some kind of state financing of political parties. Whenever I raise this, some of my friends meet me with outrage, because in their mind, no, political parties should find ways to raise their own money. But about 15 years ago, when CDD asked this question in a survey around some kind of state support for political parties, there was a good public support for it. At least over 50-something% were open to the idea of some kind of state financing of political parties. But fast forward to Afrobarometer Round 9 in 2022, there's strong opposition to any kind of state support of political parties, which means that in this kind of political environment where the appetite is not there among the public, to try and raise the idea of can the state also step in as we try to clean up the campaign finance regime, that can the state step in with some kind of both monetary and non-monetary support, would not get any strong support from the public. Okay. But if we can find a good way of doing that, it is something that I personally would strongly consider.
Doc, I'll come back to you to wrap up. Let me come into the studio, and I want to start with Edem in the middle. The figures that the CDD put out there, they make reference to about 4 million. If you want to, they said if I want to enter parliament like you, about 4 million cedis. How cedis? Yes, 4 million cedis. If you convert it to dollars, why it's too small? The way you said the 4 million. Well, how difficult financially was getting into parliament?
Joe, let me say good morning to my brothers on the panel with me this morning and to our cherished viewers across the world.
All right.
Moving to the issue of political party
the
financing.
question I asked was the 4 million. Was it too small? How difficult was it financially to get into parliament?
I think it depends. It depends on the constituency, and it also depends on who you are up against in the contest. I want us to be very, very, very sincere in this discussion. When you are running against a candidate that is not spending much, it is likely that you may also not spend much, because I tell my team that your speed is determined by what is chasing you. So sometimes you go for a political or an event, a social event. If your opponent is making a donation of, say, 10,000 Ghana cedis, even if you programmed or in your mind you budgeted to give, say, 1,000 Ghana cedis, in order not to allow such a huge disparity, not necessarily. Sometimes you just want to either get closer or at least half what a candidate is doing. So it is important to have this conversation, situating it properly in context. Joe, the truth is that political campaigns in Ghana have become extremely expensive, very expensive. And if you ask me, the biggest challenge I faced in my journey to becoming a member of parliament, I'll tell you that it is funding. Finance, we have made politics simply too expensive.
I want to understand the campaign cost.
Yes.
What are you spending on?
So you begin even with the internal primaries. It's sometimes in some constituencies, internal primaries are even more expensive than the general elections.
Yes, I can imagine your constituency.
Because especially constituencies that are strongholds. And so if you were contesting for parliamentary primaries in, say, Menchia on the ticket of NPP, you are likely to spend more in the primaries than you spend in the general elections, because the probability that the moment you win the primaries, then you are heading to parliament. And so many more people put in a lot of resources into the primaries. It is the same for Ketu North, Ketu South on the ticket of the NDC.
When you're starting out, what items are you spending
now,
on?
You start by consulting. We call it stakeholder engagement. You need to visit the executives. There are some past party executives who, they are no more even delegates, but they have influence on the process. You have to go and greet them. You have to go and see them. And I tell people that, Joe, let's have this conversation in a very sincere manner. That even our culture, that you cannot go and greet a chief, or there's a way we say it. Exactly. And so when you go see those elders, those influencers, those stakeholders, you definitely will not go empty-handed. And it may be small, but when you look at the number of people that you are speaking to, so in my constituency, currently I have about 148 branches. So 9 times 148. When you go into every branch, there are stakeholders. Some of them you have to go to the chiefs in those communities. They are not delegates, but sometimes they have an influence on the process. And so yes, my target is Sulu, who is a delegate, but I have to first greet his chief and announce to the chief that I am in his community to campaign. So you spend. You form a team. People will be going around. You have to send your message across and all of that. Again, when people are going into elections, whether at the branch level, because those people eventually are going to determine your fate. Some will come to you for support. At the constituency level, they will come to you for support. And so you spend on all of these things. So a lot of people look at the cost only with the assumption that the money is going directly into people's hand. Maybe you are giving the money to delegates. But in most cases, it is not even just that. Again, for many of the communities, as soon as you declare your interest or intentions, ambition of contesting, whatever challenges that the community is confronted with, they will come to you for support. So, Joe, a community is building, or let's say even preparing a land or a ground for cemetery. They will come to you for support. somebody has been admitted at the hospital and maybe the situation is critical. They need a huge amount of money. Sometimes the entire community will sit together and suggest that let us approach the individuals who are contesting, and everybody will have to give something a little and all of that. So you spend.
All of that is outside the logistics that you need actually.
Exactly.
Your cars,
so there are many.
Your T-shirts.
Exactly. I will come there. So I'm just telling you the items that are not directly involved with the campaign that we don't see. That's why I'm thinking, in all honesty, that maybe the CDD's projections may be too modest. Because these are not even directly the logistical needs towards the campaign. You spend on the many other things. School fees and other, and you have to do it.
So how do you raise the funds now?
Great. Before that, then we now go to the logistics.
Okay.
Motorbikes, because you are sending people to go campaign for you in all of these areas. You need to buy vehicles, pickups, sometimes 4, 5, 6. You need all of that. And T-shirts, you need to organize the delegates. If people leave their work, okay, to come and meet you. Sometimes they transport themselves because you may not be able to visit all these communities at a go. So you group them, or in clusters, you meet them in clusters. If they pick motorbike or pick a taxi to come and meet you, you will not just allow them to go like that. That is it. You need to give them transportation. So all of these things put together makes the cost of running campaigns very, very expensive. How do you raise the money? We know that per our system, the laws may not be sufficient in defining how to raise funding for political campaigns, because when you read the law, like you read, it's mostly about non-Ghanaians or foreigners being prevented or prohibited from supporting the campaign. But the question is, who regulates how Ghanaians also get involved in political party financing? So every candidate decides on how they intend to raise their funds. Some of us have been extremely transparent with how we raise funds. And that is why, right from the very day I wanted to go to Parliament, I never brag. And you never hear me say, I am resourceful because I have money. I'm able to produce this amount. I'm able to buy this car. I'm able to do A, B, C, and D. I will tell you that I have a network of friends who can support. So what I did, when I was running for Deputy National Youth Organizer, and I will share the flyer with you so you project it on the screen. My team came up with the idea that I have lots of friends and young people who look up to you, young people who are inspired by what you do, and young people who support the cause. Get them to contribute a little into the campaign. And so we developed a short code, and I can get the software developers to give you an account of how much funds we raised through that. People were putting in tokens, 5 cities, 10 cities, 20 cities, and all of that.
Okay.
Again in 2024. Then I also had a fundraising dinner with friends. Organized my friends, some from the university, some from places I've worked, some in other networks, and they all came and they supported.
All right.
And people made some donations of that nature.
Okay.
Then you also have a situation where, as a candidate, people will call you and tell you that, I see you are running to be MP in Ketu North. I know this may be little, but I want to support you with a motorbike. I want to support you with that. I want to support you with this. There were also people who were ready to make available their vehicles, maybe pickups, for the entire duration of the campaign, after which you have to return it and all of that.
Just hold on for me.
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.